You know, anime games have come a long way, and besides driving around in a beautiful city like a maniac, now you also finally get to hold hands and run around with your favorite waifu, or clean their ears. Yeah. Anyway, so I recently got to play Neverness to Everness, or NTE, and in total, I have clocked in around 200 hours between all the betas. And in this latest one called Coex Test, I saw some big, crazy changes. And I'm not just talking about the ability to hug characters with massive assets. No, NTE gameplay feels so different now since I last played it, and I've actually made 3 videos in the past. But in this one, I really want to focus on its immersion and also share my updated thoughts on the game. There's a lot of new cool stuff I saw, and I'm really excited to talk about it. However, this video is sponsored by the developers, which I'm thankful for, although they're totally fine with me sharing my feedback because while the game has a lot of perks, there's definitely areas where it still needs to step up. In fact, some would call these changes as a desperate last resort. But yeah, if you have no idea what NTE is all about, basically think anime Grand Theft Auto. But there's also these anomalies that haunt the city life, from random cars sprouting tentacles to haunted hospitals, where the devs give you an advance notice to lower the volume if you're afraid of jump scares. Joke's on them. The only thing I'm scared of are cat girls. But there's also some typical combat where you swap between the units, a lot of exploration, and of course, there's Gacha. I mean, it's a free game. They gotta make a living somehow, especially when you look at the scale of this game. However, the most important aspect, in my opinion, when playing GTA is the immersion and attention to detail, which I feel like NTE devs have also achieved. For example, previously the wanted system was pretty decent, but now they've added an insane new layer to it. You see, when you get busted or become knocked out by the police, you actually get sent to prison. More specifically, anime girl prison. In here, you have to serve your sentence, and mine was only 7 days, even though I was sparring with police officer, but I guess you can't be mad at me when I look this cute in orange overalls. Anyway, life as a prisoner is quite eventful here. First of all, you can take on jobs like work in the kitchen or do some power washing with this nifty tool in first person. There's also lunch breaks, you can go to the courtyard to hang out with the other felons, and there's even an infirmary if you get into trouble. Not only that, there's even a special currency you can obtain by gathering soap and magazines for other inmates and exchanging them for painkillers, which can then be given to this girl who provides all sorts of loot, including a permanent prison outfit you can wear forever. Once a thug, always a thug, am I right? Now, you can simply serve the sentence or just pay the fine and get out immediately. However, you can also break out of prison, and there's even multiple ways to do it. I escaped by gathering bed sheets and dirty prison outfits to create this rope, which I've used to descend from a watchtower. However, you can also find spoons around the place and dig out to freedom, just like in Shawshank Redemption. Still, when I escaped, a boat was waiting for me, and after a long, and I mean really long ride, I finally reached the shores of civilized city life. And as an ex-convict, the first thing I did, of course, was go to a maid cafe. But seriously, this is just the tip of the iceberg of all the new stuff that's been added to NTE. For example, a big part of this game is city management and activities. Previously, you could own some apartments, race a little, and there was this pretty boring delivery job. But now, there's a lot more stuff to do. In fact, there's a dedicated menu for that called City Tycoon, where you can review all the activities. Ever wanted to be an Uber driver? Well, now you can. However, I think the devs are quite lenient here after my nightmare-fueled driving because I still managed to get a 3.8 rating from my customer. Or how about some good old fishing? Yep, the game has that now. Or you can sit down and play some mahjong in the previously mentioned maid cafe. Or perhaps you want to go to arcade and play some tetraminos. Heck, why not rob a bank while we're at it? And afterwards, with all the money I stole, I can funnel it into my own cafe to serve better food and drinks. There's just so much stuff to do. It's like I'm playing one of those Yakuza games. Still, one of my biggest gripes with the game was lack of cars. In any GTA title, there's tons of models you can drive, but I always felt like NTE had few options to choose between, despite driving being a huge aspect of the game. Well, seems that was also addressed. Car variety has grown significantly, and I also like the fact you could put on some decals on the cars and other wacky cosmetics. Not only that, the cars can be destroyed partially as well. Like, I can pop the tires, smash the windows, and voila. Now we have a crapmobile. Yes, perfect for leaving it on train tracks. I also like the fact I can now jump out of moving cars. It does look a bit janky, like I'm talking about Vice City days, but it works. It's also quite hilarious how I can crash my bike and fly off in spectacular ways. Again, details and immersion matter here, and I really hope the devs keep on refining on these aspects. Oh, and yeah, you can also switch to first-person view. Running around the street and beating up innocent NPCs has never felt more immersive, especially when you drop their lunch bags. Or, you can also observe the human civilization with more precision. Although this experience becomes quite dizzying with one of the characters like Natalie, since she can shift gravity, which allows you to walk on any surface. I mean, hopefully this won't make you sick. Now, as I said, the combat is pretty straightforward. You can swap between 4 characters at the same time, each of them have normal attacks, skills, and ultimates plus passives. However, what the devs have also added now is almost as crucial as the other parts I've mentioned, and that is, the characters you own can be invited to your apartment where not only will they don casual outfits, and some of them are quite provocative, but you can also interact with them in so many ways. I've already sprinkled in a lot of these interactions since the beginning of the video, but you can see the menu here yourself. Not only that, you can invite multiple characters to become your flatmates. Just don't be a creep and watch them sleep. Instead, why not catch an air kiss from Fadia? Look, I'll be honest, this whole interaction system isn't really something I care for, but I understand there's a market for everyone. Although, I do like that I can now invite anyone to join me on rides, and it's especially funny when I crash my bike and fly off into the horizon. It's also cool how there's random encounters in the world, where I can find any of the characters from the game just doing their own thing, and trigger a hangout sequence. I was walking through these beautiful fields by myself, and I saw an even more beautiful thing, Baisong. After a shark, albeit dangerous jaywalk, we did share a nice moment together. Still, since we're on the topic of characters, I cannot ignore the elephant in the room, the gacha. Now, if you didn't know, since the previous CBT, NTE went with a pretty unique gacha system where you summon for units and weapons by playing this simple roll and move board game. Each die roll equals to 1 pull, and you can clearly see on the board what can be obtained. But there's still some math behind it, and essentially, S-rank units soft pity starts at 70 pulls and ends at 90 hard pity. But, and this is quite huge, there is no 50-50 in the game. Meaning, for example, Natalie, who's currently the featured unit, does not share the odds of being a 50% of being an S-rank pull. Instead, anytime you obtain an S-rank from featured banner, it will always be the featured unit. If that's not enough, there's really cool rewards as well. On the board, you can obtain things such as a new glider cosmetic, a new decal for the car, or even an alternate skin. And if you're unlucky, there's a pity system where, for example, after 50 pulls, you can just claim the glider, after 120, the car decal is given away, and finally, at 200 pulls, you just get the skin. Luckily, I got Natalie and her skin on the same 10 roll, so I was quite excited about it. But it's nice to see you can get cumulative rewards as you keep pulling on the banner, and as far as I'm aware, the odds of getting an S rank is way higher than compared to other similar open world titles. However, there's an even crazier thing this game has. You see, normally when you get a dupe, you just unlock the next constellation or whatever you call it in other games. But in NTE, you can literally toggle and select which dupe ability you want to use. In fact, you can even switch between. So if you get 2 copies of same character, you can swap between 6 of their different abilities with that extra dupe you've obtained. The only untoggleable thing are these passives, which become permanent after 3rd and 6th final dupe. But still, I feel like this would be such a nice thing to have in every other title, where you can just pick which ability you want to enable from the dupe. I mean, look, I'm not saying this game is perfect. There's definitely some technical issues that are still present since I first played it, mainly stuttering. This becomes especially noticeable when first booting up the game. The first few days I kept experiencing FPS drops quite often, but I think it has more to do with the engine the devs are using, and I do hope they address it before the global launch arrives because I am using a high-end PC with 4K resolution. But stuff like this can feel a little jarring. On the flip side, I have heard good things from other beta testers that mobile experience at least feels much more smoother, and as you can imagine, playing anime GTA on your phone will be a demanding experience for the device. So as long as the devs make sure to keep on ironing out these issues, I feel like this will be a great choice. Other than that, there's still a lot of bugs I've encountered. They are not game-breaking, more like funny to look at, and I can only imagine how stressful it is for programmers to fix all these bugs when the game is so massive, speaking of from my own experience when I used to work as a developer. But regardless, after playing this latest beta test, I can confidently say I am super excited for NTE's release. It's a big and sometimes messy game, but at least it's doing something entirely different from every other major open world gacha I've played. I do believe its strongest selling selling point is the city life and its management. Right now, most of the stuff on the market is fantasy or sci-fi based, but going back to the roots of driving around like a maniac is what sets NTE apart. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video as I've enjoyed making it. You can pre-register to NTE by using my link in the description, and in return, you can be the first one to learn about its release date, plus there are some really cool rewards you'll obtain if you reach certain milestones. Thank you for watching, be sure to press like button on my video to help support my channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, and I'll see you very soon.